All right, what's up, History Peeps? Today we're going to go over the second president of the United States, John Adams. Serves his presidency from 1797 to 1781. And virtually, the SparkNote edition to this, everything you need to know about John Adams has in some way, shape, or form to do with the French Revolution. All right, so let's get started. The first thing you need to know is that the United States supports the French Revolution in terms of ideals, in terms of liberty, equality, fraternity. But in terms of the terror, in terms of the bloodshed, in terms of Robespierre, we don't support it. And even if we did want to get involved, we couldn't really get involved because we don't really have an army, we don't really have a navy. We're still a very weak country. That's why this era is called the critical period. All right, so you've got some division. Some people want us to get involved, like Thomas Jefferson, and some people say it's, thank you, France, for helping us out in the American Revolution, but, we don't support your total ideals that you got going on. And it's also going to lead to our destruction if we try to help you out in Europe's perilous wars that they find themselves in. All right, so what happens is our United States foreign policy is neutrality, all right? And it divides the Democratic Republicans and the Federalists, all right? And so this Jay's Treaty is a treaty that we covered with Washington, and it helps out the English. And so what happens is the French get upset and they start attacking our boats. And then the SparkNote edition over here is that Napoleon eventually is going to come into power here in 1799. All right, XYZ affair. So France is blowing up our boats. What's the United States going to do about it? Well, we send over some ambassadors to France, and basically we get off the boat, and the French ambassadors, who we will call X, Y, and Z, say, look, America, you must pay us $250 if you want to see Prime Minister Taliban. And we say, no, we're not going to pay you $250,000. We're a country. We're not going to pay a bribe to go see a Prime Minister. And so being as France isn't taking us seriously, we say, screw it, and we go home. And that enters in about 4 years what we call the quasi-war. We haven't officially declared war on France, but we're capturing their boats, they're attacking our boats, and we are at war. All right? So enter over here, France still attacking U.S. boats, and Adams doesn't want war, but he starts to increase the military to take care of our fleet and to take care of our trading opportunities, which is not being respected. All right, Hamilton, keep in mind, he's always Washington's basically number 2 in command. All right, and so Hamilton wants a national army, and Washington's going to be in charge of that national army, but Washington's going to die, and so Hamilton still wants that national army. And Adams says, Hamilton, what are you talking about? If you use this army, if you create it, what are you going to use this army for? Probably on us. All right, and so they have a very big disagreement. He even fires Alexander Hamilton. Then Alexander Hamilton, being the arrogant man that he is at times, writes this letter concerning the public conduct and character of John Adams, basically saying that the president's an idiot, doesn't know what the hell he's doing. So John Adams and Alexander Hamilton do not get along well. Adams even calls him a Scottish bastard brat of a Scottish peddler. All right. Anyhow, what you do need to know, Adams refuses to put us into war. And so what happens is Adams keeps us out of war, but he's ultimately going to cost him the election because America wants war with France. All right? So moving on here, the Alien and Sedition Acts. We've got this two-party system plus the rise of newspapers. Again, it's Federalists versus Democratic Republicans. All right? And so basically what happens is the Federalists are being critiqued by the Democratic Republicans. They're saying unflattering things about John Adams, saying unflattering things about his administration. And so hundreds of people are going to be charged with the Alien and Sedition Acts, which is the alien part. It increases the time to become a U.S. citizen from 5 years to 14 years. The sedition part is you can't talk bad about your government. So that's what goes in those blurbs there. Democratic Republicans are going to be charged. 10 of them are actually going to serve time in jail. And this just is blow up in the face because you have a constitution with a Bill of Rights and you're breaking Amendment number 1, freedom of speech. So basically it leads to the Federalists being very unpopular. Politicians from this point on develop a thick skin in terms of politics. Like check out this show Saturday Night Live. Whoever's running for office is always being critiqued. Under the Alien and Sedition Acts, that could get you time in jail. All right, and ultimately leads to the destruction of the Federalist Party. And so it also leads to the Virginia and Kentucky resolutions where Thomas Jefferson writes the Virginia resolutions, Madison writes the Kentucky resolutions and says, we need to nullify. This is unconstitutional and we need to ignore it. States, you need to ignore this law. And ultimately when Thomas Jefferson becomes president, he's going to get rid of that. Boom. All right, we got one more thing here, and it's called the Judiciary Act of 1801. The election of 1800 is ugly, really ugly. Probably one of the ugliest elections we've ever had. TJ and John Adams duking it out, and ultimately who wins? Well, with the Federalists not being popular right now, the Democratic Republicans win. Thomas Jefferson, the man that said the tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants, the man that said we need to support the French Revolution, he's president, so people are freaking out. So what happens is that John Adams appoints his friend John Marshall as Secretary of State. As Chief Justice, he also starts appointing a bunch of other Federalist judges to watch over Thomas Jefferson and the Democratic Republicans. All right, so created because of Thomas Jefferson winning. The goal is watch Thomas Jefferson, and Chief Justice is going to be John Marshall, who actually is Thomas Jefferson's second cousin, and he has to swear Thomas Jefferson in. So it's this weird situation, a Federalist judge shaking hands with Thomas Jefferson as Thomas Jefferson puts his hand on the Bible and says, are you going to uphold the Constitution? And Thomas Jefferson's, I am, says I am. And both sides really hate each other. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We've got John Adams. Again, the spark note is everything has to do with the French Revolution. Do we support them because they start attacking our boats? Then it leads to freedom of speech issues, and then ultimately the Democratic Republicans are going to win, and it leads to the midnight judges. All right? So have a good day, study those notes, and we'll catch you next time with Thomas Jefferson. May the force be with you.